Aloha. You're watching Ericom, the cybersecurity unit at Cradle Point. I'm Peter, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Ericom, the cybersecurity unit at Cradle Point. Poised to overtake us in the next few years, seem like an appropriate tension-filled opening. Generative AI has become the hottest tool out there on the internet, from physicians to coders to attorneys to doctors. I know I said physicians already, to even myself, a marketer, has used ChatGPT, for instance, to help get some ideas or make a blurb more concise, something like that. But ChatGPT and any of these generative AI tools can also expose corporate secrets. And today, I'm glad to have Sergey Starzhinskiy. He's a senior sales engineer with Ericom. How's it going, Sergey?
Hey, Peter. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. What you folks might not know is Sergey and I kind of go back a few years from a previous companies, so having familiar faces here is always nice. So this generative AI stuff, I know you've been messing around with it for a while. You want to give us a little bit of a lowdown on that?
Yeah, of course. And it's of course it's on everybody's mind these days. The generative AI, they all associated with ChatGPT mostly, but everybody knows with their thousands, probably if not tens of thousands of these extensions, and the websites would expose the large language models
Right.
in form of chatbots, where people can interact with it and get some real value out of it. But like everyone guesses right now, I think it's the enterprises are extremely concerned with the rising use of the ChatGPT and the likes.
So I know you brought along a couple of slides, and then we're going to do a demo. So I'm guessing like one of the challenges would be just simple things like maybe application developers posting some proprietary code into the system to maybe get some feedback or some tweaks or maybe a new feature involved.
Actually, anyone who uses ChatGPT in corporate setting environment, they can inadvertently or intentionally expose the internal documents, the PII or intellectual property and the trade secrets, all kind of data to a chatbot.
Right.
But let's just take a step back a little bit and understand why enterprises can actually want the employees to use the generative AI in the first place. Well, according to Gartner, the four most sought after categories in among the enterprises are increase the customer experience. They want to retain customers better. They want to grow their revenue. They want to optimize the costs and ensure the business continuity. Because the generative AI is really good in performing like common tasks, what can be offloaded to a machine learning piece, and then so that people can concentrate on the more important things. But with that, benefit actually comes great responsibility, I would say. And of course, the companies benefit from using the generative AI, like in get the faster product development times and increase the customer experience and customer retention, and employee productivity goes through the roof and things like that. But it also comes with the cost, right? So, and starting with lack of transparency and accuracy in language models, and of course there's a certain bias in responses, but there are more concerning are the types of the information exposure known as the intellectual property and the copyright information, what are being submitted to a chatbots without actually knowing the consequences, right?
Right, because once you post that in, it then takes that in, consumes it, and then continues to use it as part of its learning model, right?
Yeah, of course. And just so everyone knows, the ChatGPT records and stores all the transcripts, all the transactions. Of course, and that data, once it made its way into the chatbot, that data is retained for the training purposes, and the model can be trained on that data. So the person, halfway around the world, querying for a similar result, can get that data actually exposed to him. Those proprietary information can be exposed to that random person. Another important thing is to understand is what it is natural for people to do a copy paste. It is just, we do it hundreds of times a day, right? It's just we need to copy it from somewhere and paste it elsewhere. So it is very natural for a person to go and copy an internal document, just paste it in the chatbot and say, hey, can you summarize this for me?
Right.
Or can you translate this to a different language for me? And boom, that data is in the chatbot. That's it. Once it's there, it never leaves. And of course, the companies have very little control over the use of the ChatGPT and similar tools, right? Some companies opt to just block it straight away.
Yeah.
And they're missing out on all the benefits that come with the usage of the generative AI. And some other companies just they produce policies, right? And they make everyone kind of sign and go through the training, sign the waiver basically, or acknowledgement with they will abide by the policies produced by the company. But people tend to forget. People tend to going back to that natural thing of copy pasting. People just can overlook things. So maybe not intentionally, but it happens really every day.
Right. Yeah. Get the acceptable use policy, but your Control C and Control V never ends.
Yeah, exactly. So how
not to mention, and not to mention just all I've seen over the last few months, I've seen a ton of browser extensions calling these AI systems. So, it's already like built into the tools they currently use.
Yeah. It's very important to understand that is not going anywhere. You can't block everything. They're popping up like a mushrooms, right? And after the rain, and it's going to be a game of whack-a-mole, all the time. We have to accept and try to to see how can we get the best of the generative AI without all the risks. And this is where the Ericom comes into play. We can actually isolate the ChatGPT and similar chatbots, and by doing that isolation, we have full control of data, what goes in and out of that session. So we can control the clipboard, we can restrict the usage of the clipboard, we can block or allow files to upload and download. And of course, we can apply the DLP rules. So when the data is entered manually into the chat session, that data goes through the DLP before it is exposed to the chatbot. Right. So if the sensitive information is revealed, then that data never actually makes its way into the chatbot.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So let's go into the real demonstration here.
It kind of reminds me, in the old days, whether it's who I like, Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky, the announcers always talked about the fact, like, you can't ever stop them. You can only contain them. And that's kind of is the sort of that same thought.
Exactly the same principle here. So let's say I do have my local clipboard here, right, on the virtual machine, and then I copy the content of that clipboard, and as you can see, I can paste it unlimited number of times, and just go and do the paste right there. So my clipboard contains that data. But if I have the ChatGPT open in a separate window and I'll try to paste that data, I am unable to, because the clipboard paste functionality is disabled for this particular session.
Nice.
But now, if let's say I want to go ahead and just manually type something, let's say I want to know who is the owner of this social security number. But hey, I can't get that data into the ChatGPT because it violates the DLP policy. The
Right.
DLP actually detected what this looks like a social security number. So
Yep.
it blocked it right away. And as you can see, there is an error with the ChatGPT through on me and saying, hey, there is an error occurred. We couldn't get that data, basically. And things like that, including the file upload restrictions and download restrictions and all other goodness what comes with the Ericom solution and the isolation solution can be applied to this and all other sessions as well.
Right. That's really cool. Now, I also notice the little red, you have a red bar around it. I know that's configurable too, right? So that the user kind of knows that they're now in this isolated cloud container session.
Correct.
But you could also, but it doesn't necessarily have to be there. Like you can not even have any indicator other than potentially the denies and the errors that come up afterward.
Correct. Ericom provides a couple different cues to understand what you're actually interacting with the isolated session. This is the RBI.
Yep.
First, as you mentioned, is the frame around the tab, around the content, and that is configurable in terms of the color and thickness and location of that. It can be just a tab on top or a full frame around the content. There is also a little star with the asterisk next to the name of the tab in the browser. If you can look at it, that provides you a second cue with this is actually an isolated session.
And then, as I understand, right, when you close that tab, depending on how many tabs you have open, it completely just wipes it out in the end. There's no residuals, no like cookies left, none of that kind of extra stuff hanging around once you clear it out.
That is correct. Nothing is retained. The container, which is air gapped and runs in the Ericom cloud, is completely wiped. So that data never leaves the container and is never shared with other users who may be reusing that container in the future.
Wow.
But at the same time, we're able to pass the cookies through. So any cookies that are passed from the end user's browser can be retained and passed through to the origin server.
Sure.
So for convenience, and once you logged in somewhere, you don't have to log in every time you launch the isolated session.
Right. So very customizable depending on how IT wants to set it up.
That is all controllable through the admin GUI, and we can enable or disable pretty much everything what is related to the end user's browsing.
Sweet. That's pretty cool. So like, how do our viewers right now learn a little bit more about this and kind of test it out, get a sense of what it's all about?
Yeah. So I would just go and, go ahead and just hit the Ericom website and download the white paper. It's right there on the generative AI tools and how Ericom protects against the data exposure. And of course, you can contact the Ericom or the Cradlepoint sales team, and we'll be more than happy to set you up with the demo environment, POC environment, and show you how that thing works.
Pretty sweet. Great stuff, Sergey. I know you've been kind of working on this for the last few weeks, so it's kind of nice to finally be able to share it with everyone.
Yeah. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me, Peter.
Absolutely. Anytime. You're going to be a frequent guest on this series. The Ericom demo series there. I just named it. How's that?
Yeah, sounds
pretty
good.
Cool.
We'll be happy to.
Right on. Great stuff from Sergey. And there you go. How you can protect protect your users, protect your intellectual property, and kind of manage your users' access to some of these generative AI tools with Ericom ZTEdge. Like and subscribe if you enjoy these kinds of videos. Visit us at ericom.com. For Sergey, nice job today, buddy. I'm Peter, and we're with Ericom, the cybersecurity unit at Cradlepoint. Thanks for watching. There it is.
ZTEdge, the simple, affordable way to move to zero trust security.